Welcome back to the deep dive. So, if you are keeping tabs on, the future of professional qualifications, digital learning,
Uh,
you've probably noticed there's been a bit of a bottleneck. We've had these amazing immersive learning tools, right? Think VR training, complex sims, but linking that experience to something formal, something verifiable for your resume, that's been tricky.
it really has. A major gap.
So today we're doing a deep dive into the source material on EON Reality's new assessment and certification module. It's part of their virtual campus. Our mission really is to get our heads around how this thing shifts digital ed from just like content delivery into real, robust, next-gen credentialing. We want to understand how qualifications are changing, basically.
Exactly. And the sources we looked at, they really hammered this home. The virtual campus was already pretty powerful. It had the EON XR lessons, the immersive stuff, plus brainy AI for tutoring. But the learner, maybe they finished a really intense virtual welding course or some deep academic pathway. They still didn't walk away with that globally recognized certificate. Proof of competence.
No.
So this new module, it kind of closes that loop. It translates that high-quality immersive learning directly into a formal, verifiable qualification. It feels like the missing piece, making the platform whole.
Right, completing the journey. And the core of making those credentials meaningful is, well, the assessment itself. The documentation seems to really focus on this three-stream evaluation model. This isn't just sticking a multiple-choice quiz onto a VR thing.
Oh, not at all. That's the old way, right? That single high-stakes written exam.
Yeah.
It's a legacy system. EON seems to have realized, look, if you're teaching complex skills, stuff that involves doing things, reasoning, and knowing facts, you need to assess all those dimensions.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so this framework, it's designed to make sure authenticity and verifiable competence are front and center, not just recall.
Okay, let's unpack that framework then. Can you break down those three streams? What are the actual components? How are they weighted? And what is each one trying to measure?
Sure. It's deliberately weighted, like you said, to kind of shift assessment away from just pure memory. So the biggest chunk, 50%, half the grade, is the EON XR performance assessment.
Oh.
This is all about applied skills. Did you actually do the virtual mission correctly? Did you follow a procedure? It's measuring the applied competence. And importantly, it has integrity features built right into the XR environment itself.
We'll definitely need to circle back to those integrity features. What's next?
Next up, accounting for 25%, is the brainy AI interview.
An AI interview.
Yeah, think of it as a modern viva voce, an oral defense or a structured interview, but it's conducted by an adaptive AI. It tests your reasoning, how well you communicate, your grasp of the concepts. It's about proving you can articulate why you did what you did in that simulation.
Interesting. Okay, so 50% doing, 25% explaining. What's the last bit?
The final 25% is the written examination. So it still includes that traditional structured knowledge validation. But the key here is it uses randomized item banks. So no two tests are exactly the same, which adds robustness, makes it harder to just memorize answers. It checks that foundational knowledge.
Okay, hang on. So if I'm reading this right, 50% doing, 25% explaining, only 25% traditional recall. That feels like a pretty fundamental shift in what's being certified here, doesn't it? It's valuing application much more.
Absolutely. It's a different philosophy.
But let me play devil's advocate for a second. That 50% based on simulator performance. It sounds, I don't know, potentially gameable. How does the system make sure that score is legit? You mentioned embedded integrity features. How are those genuinely better than, say, just having a person watch you?
That's a fair question, and it's critical. The tech integration is designed to handle that. The integrity is tied into the analytics from the immersive environment itself. We can get into the specifics in a bit, but maybe first, let's touch on transparency, because that's also part of the answer.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about that. So instead of just getting a score, like an 85%, you're saying this generates some kind of detailed log, an auditable transcript. How does that help the learner or make it more credible for, say, an employer or another school?
That's exactly it. This detailed evidence log is, well, it's a huge part of the innovation. It goes way beyond just a letter grade. The system generates these transparent transcripts. They log the specific performance data from the XR mission, right, what you did. Then the reasoning captured in that AI interview. And, of course, the results from the written part.
So it breaks it all down.
Totally. It means learners get really specific feedback. You see exactly where you succeeded or maybe where you struggled, much more targeted. And for institutions or employers, this creates a fully auditable record. It's the evidence behind that certificate. That's massive for credibility, for meeting regulatory standards, and for global acceptance.
Okay, that detailed audit trail sounds compelling. Now, let's get into the tech that makes these assessments actually work. Because, honestly, that AI interview, the XR analytics, that sounds impossible in a regular classroom.
Yeah, it relies heavily on some pretty sophisticated tech integration, especially with the brainy AI. So for that 25% real defense part,
Yeah.
they use these persistent AI avatars. They conduct the interviews, but they're adaptive,
Meaning,
meaning they don't just follow a rigid script. If your answer is a bit vague or maybe you miss a key point, the AI can ask dynamic follow-up questions. It probes your understanding more deeply.
okay.
And crucially, these aren't just generic chatbots. They're specialized AI evaluators using specific rubrics. They're looking at things like, well, accuracy, obviously, but also the depth of your reasoning, how clearly you communicate, and even something they call academic register.
Academic register. What's that exactly?
It's about evaluating if the learner is speaking appropriately for the context, using the right technical terms, structuring their explanations logically, maintaining a certain level of formality, skills you need in professional settings.
Gotcha. And going back to my earlier skepticism about cheating that 50% performance score, how do the XR analytics specifically stop someone from just like clicking through randomly or finding shortcuts?
Right. That's where the XR mission analytics really come into play, because they capture data points that are, frankly, impossible to fake or replicate in a traditional test setting. We're talking about things like your precise time on task for specific steps, the exact sequence of actions you took, your attempt history on difficult parts. And there are also internal integrity checks that can flag weird behavior, like did the user skip steps that are absolutely essential for showing mastery. You can't really do that effectively. If you're assessing a high-stakes skill-think equipment repair, medical procedures capturing the efficiency and accuracy of that specific performance data, that 50% is just infinitely more valuable than a generic written score about it.
That comparison really throws the difference into sharp relief, doesn't it? Especially the point about location. Traditional exams often mean going to a specific testing center, needing a proctor.
Absolutely. Huge barrier. Traditional systems often rely on these single modality tests, usually written in these controlled, often expensive physical locations. Proctoring adds another layer of complexity and cost. EON system flips that. It leverages the fact that virtual campus is already globally accessible, so the learning and the certification can happen anywhere. It removes that physical barrier, democratizing access to these next-gen credentials.
That accessibility point is huge. Okay, so let's talk about the actual credentials you get at the end. The sources mention a dual credential structure. Why have two tiers? Is it like one is instant, one takes longer but has more weight?
That's pretty much it, yeah. It's a smart way to balance immediate recognition with, let's say, more formal academic endorsement. So the first tier is the EON certificate. These get issued automatically pretty much instantly once you hit the required score.
And what's the threshold?
It's set at 70% overall, but importantly, you also need at least 60% in each of the three components, the XR, the AI interview, and the written test. You can't bomb one section and still pass.
Okay, prevents gaming the weighting.
Exactly. And these EON certificates are backed by EON's own reputation, their 26-plus years in the field, and their global partner network. So they have immediate, verifiable value on their own.
Right. And the second tier?
The second tier is the partner diploma. Now, these are positioned as optional premium credentials. They require explicit review and approval from an accredited institutional partner.
Ah, so this is where the universities and colleges come in.
Precisely. This is where you get that extra layer of prestige, the academic stamp of approval, the sources list partners like University of California, Riverside, University of Business and Technology, GMS Education for K-12, and Institute of Technical Education Singapore for vocational training. Big names lending their credibility.
Okay, that dual structure makes a lot of sense. Speed and recognition on one hand, deeper academic validation on the other. So once a learner earns one of these, how do they actually use it? Show it off. We're past paper certificates, I hope.
Definitely past paper. Portability is key. Absolutely non-negotiable today. So these credentials are issued as Open Badges V3.
Okay, the standard.
Yep, the industry standard for digital badges. It means they integrate smoothly with all the major credential platforms. Think Credly, credible LinkedIn profiles, digital wallets, and verification is dead simple. Each credential has a public QR code or URL embedded in it.
So anyone can check it.
Anyone, an employer, admissions office, whoever. They scan the code or click the link, and it instantly verifies the credential's authenticity and status directly from the source. No need to request transcripts or make phone calls.
Nice. Frictionless.
Exactly. And looking ahead, the roadmap mentioned they're building towards compatibility with verifiable credentials, VCs, and decentralized identifiers, DIDs, so making them ready for blockchain and future identity systems, future-proofing them, basically.
That's good planning. But with all this data, performance analytics, interview recordings, personal info flying around globally, compliance and governance must be a massive headache. How are they building trust, especially around privacy?
It's paramount. You can't build a global system like this without rock-solid governance. When you're handling sensitive academic and performance data from learners all over the world, trust is everything.
Right.
So the system is explicitly designed with things like FERPA for the US and GDPR for Europe and beyond, compliance built in. That means adhering to the highest standards for protecting student data privacy no matter where the learner is.
Okay, essential checkboxes ticked.
Absolutely. And they also mentioned compliance with WCK 2.1 BOA accessibility standards, which is crucial for making sure this whole next-gen assessment process is actually usable and fair for everyone, including users with disabilities.
Good. Okay, let's zoom out a bit. We've talked about individual course assessment, but what if you're running a whole program, say a multi-level language course or a full vocational track? Can this system track progress and issue credentials at that program level?
Yes, it's designed for that too. The aggregation capability is key. It lets you create program-level credentials by basically rolling up the evidence from individual courses. Learners get what they call program transcripts. These aggregate all that detailed evidence, remember the XR scores, the AI interview results, the exam marks, across all the courses within that program.
So you build a cumulative record.
Exactly. And this directly supports stackable credentials. The idea is that completing a sequence of these certified courses builds directly towards a larger qualification, like a full diploma, or even pathways towards a degree. The examples given were things like an English academic pathway, levels 100 through 700, all stacking up, or comprehensive vocational training programs where each module contributes to the final diploma.
And presumably, those higher-level partner diplomas for entire programs also go through that institutional review process.
Yes, the system includes workflows specifically for partners to review the complete evidence package for a program before they grant their co-branded diploma.
Makes sense. Which brings us to the institutional side of things. Integrating a system like this, even if EON provides the platform, must have costs. What's the value proposition for the universities or training centers beyond just looking innovative? Is there a business case?
There's definitely a strong business case outlined. For one, those premium partner diplomas we talked about, they represent a potential new revenue stream. The institution co-branding the diploma can charge a fee for it directly to the learner. The sources mentioned figures ranging from $200 to over $1,000 per premium credential.
Okay, direct revenue.
Right. Plus, institutions gain global reach for their brand without needing to build the entire virtual infrastructure themselves. They get enhanced prestige through co-branding these advanced credentials, and they get access to all those deep performance analytics, which are super valuable for their own quality assurance and accreditation reporting. So it's pitched as a way to quickly stand up a certified global virtual education offering without the massive upfront R&D and infrastructure costs.
Got it. It's a partnership model where everyone potentially wins. Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. What's the big picture here, the main takeaway for someone listening?
Well, I think the core message is that Virtual Campus isn't just a place to access cool VR lessons anymore. It's evolved into a complete end-to-end ecosystem for learning and credentialing. It connects the immersive experience directly to a verifiable, globally recognized qualification.
And that qualification is backed by a new kind of proof, right? That multimodal evidence.
Exactly. The XR performance data, the AI oral defense, the written knowledge check, all logged, all auditable, and all compliant with tough global privacy and accessibility standards. It's a fundamentally more robust way to certify competence learned in these new environments.
So a real step change from just participation badges or simple quizzes.
A huge step change. Which leads us to that final, maybe provocative thought for you to consider.
Okay, let's hear it.
The sources mention future phases, like adding honors, distinctions, and even more advanced credential tech. But think about this. If the ultimate goal here is to perfectly translate what someone learns and achieves in an immersive simulation into a qualification that employers trust, what happens when that performance data captured inside the simulator, that rich, detailed 50% XR assessment component, becomes seen as more reliable, more defensible, maybe even more valuable to an employer than a traditional proctored written exam score?
That flips the script entirely.
It really does. That potential shift could change the very definition of what a transcript means, moving it from just a record of what you could remember on test day to an immutable, verifiable record of what you actually demonstrated you could do. Something definitely worth pondering next time you look at getting a professional cert.